This is my recap of The Little Couple, Season 6, Episode 10, Just What the Doctor Ordered. And that's what the episode's all about, doctor and general health issues. So we open up with Will, as we noted from a previous episode. He had had some hearing problems and they had been able to fix that by putting tubes in. But his language was still delayed in both his native language as well as English. So Jen's really concerned that he work on his speech because she feels that, especially with him being a little person, if his speech is delayed, that people will talk down to him or have lower expectations, which I think, you know, if that's what she thinks, she's probably right on for what would happen just because of her experience being a doctor, being a smart lady, and maybe some experiences she had as a child with people treating her, especially as she was, say, a teenager and adult, people treating her like she's much younger and less capable. I would assume, just based on what she said. So he's a little slow to pronounce words. He has a tendency to kind of skip the first part of the word, so they're going to speech therapy. So they're doing a bunch of exercises, showing words, showing him where certain letters are made, like a K, things like that. So they take him into his weekly speech therapy, and they take Zoe in to go have a doctor's appointment. And it's so awful to watch. They've got to take blood, and I didn't know this, but Bill says that as little people, it's a little harder sometimes to get a vein. So it seemed to be quite a struggle to draw blood from her, which of course, you know, having to stick a child is difficult, period, let alone when they're screaming and yelling. And she's so young, she doesn't know any different. So they work on that. They go home. Will works on his homework, of course, with two toddlers, or I don't know if they're still toddlers, young children. You know, there's stuff going everywhere, and they're kind of working on it and having him say his phrases, and his favorite is, you know, I want more cookies. Things like that. Now, Bill goes to a TV show called Focus on Abilities, which is a TV show based just on that. And he talks a little bit about when he was interviewing for jobs. And we had heard this story before, not this exact part of the story, but I already knew from previous episodes that he had had a lot of interviews and it was a real problem for him. I would say not problem. It seemed to take him longer to get a job. And that could be, no one specifically said it, but it could have been because of his height. It was a neat little segment. He talked about, you know, just, I don't know, his experiences and what really worked for him and all that. And lastly, we see Jen getting evaluated for physical therapy. So through her cancer treatment, she's lost a lot of strength and endurance, and so she's going in to get evaluated on her strength as well as get some exercises to increase her endurance. So they do all the stuff where they, you know, measure her and see how strong she is, and they're going to set her up with some stuff. And she explains that, you know, as a kid, she had an incredible number of surgeries, and after each one, she had to go through physical therapy. So I had, by no means I didn't have the same as Jen, but I had 2 foot surgeries, and afterwards I had to go to physical therapy for quite a while, and you increase the dexterity, and it's incredibly frustrating. It's a frustrating experience to not be able to move your body the way that you know you're capable of. It's a bizarre sensation that's incredibly unpleasant when you're working on that. So I wish her all the best. Now, lastly, they're going to go to a multi-use accessible playground. So the first one they go to, they kind of looked it up online. I didn't really get to see it. There's no parking lot nearby. It's like a half a mile away, which doesn't seem very accessible. So they are able to go to another one, and I guess the playground is mostly designed for kids in wheelchairs and different disabilities, which work really well for Will and Zoe because they have a shorter stride, and so certain things like steps can be a little bit more challenging for them. So they went, and Zoe wants to stick close to Jen, which is so cute, and Will wants to run all over her, and he's got his little bicycle, which is kind of like a scooter, but you sit on it, but you use your legs. It kind of looks like a scooter, though. It's really interesting. And some kids got too close, and he was like, no, 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 mine, mine, mine. So just all around a pretty happy, enjoyable episode.